Good evening, lads, and welcome to the Trash Picture Show. I am back with another excellent figure that gorgeous girlfriend of mine, Jen Mitchell, sent me for my birthday. This is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Marvel Studios Iron Man Mark 85. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, this is the same type of armor that Tony wore in both Infinity War and Endgame. I think for those last two movies, it was going to be his last appearance. Spoilers, apologies for anyone who haven't fucking seen those movies. If you haven't, have you been hiding under a rock? But I have a feeling that the MCU and Disney wanted to send Tony Stark out in something iconic. So they went with the original Iron Man armor design. Rather than giving him super space armor, super kind of alien armor to fight Thanos. Essentially, Tony went out in the very same type of armor he wore when his journey began. This variant of it is essentially like that first full suit of armor he wore. Tweaked somewhat, it's a lot sleeker, it's a lot more advanced, but essentially what we get is the old school Iron Man armor, and it still looks fucking gorgeous. Yes, it's a repetition of that original suit of armor, but there's no kind of newfangled whistles or bells attached to it. It's just that old school badass armor he wore in that movie, and yeah, it kicks arse. So enough about the armor, let's have a look at the figure. So this Marvel Legends series, some people have nicknamed it the A series because it's mainly made up of iconic Avengers members such as Spider-Man and Captain America and Thor. It's the premier members of the MCU released in these kind of really deluxe, nice looking boxes. But yeah, so you have this blue packaging, it has Marvel Legends series, you have Iron Man there in a nice windowed collector friendly box, Marvel Studios Iron Man Mark 85, flip to the side there, classic image of Iron Man from a lot of the MCU posters use that image, flip it to the back and just read the blurb here. To release Thanos' grip on the universe, Tony Stark fights alongside his fellow Avengers in his high powered Mark 85 armor. And it's just there in different languages. There is a picture, again classic picture of Tony in the Mark 85 armor. Flip it to the side, same as usual. So yeah guys, that is the figure in the packaging. I'm going to pause the video here, we're going to take him out and we'll have a closer look. Don't go anywhere, I shall be right back. And we are back, and there is Iron Man out of the packaging. So before we look at the accessories, let's have a look at the figure itself. So yeah, that is a nice sculpt. That is really nice. Just the sculpting on the helmet is gorgeous, going down. Sculpting on the armor. Really intricate as well. That's pretty cool. Just a real detailing on there. Again, it really encapsulates Tony Stark's armor. Just the accents of not only red but gold. Because like Tony designed the armor to look like something like a hot rod. Again, his decadence slipped into the design of the armor, and yeah, it's like a sports car. Again, the accents of gold going through, and it's just sleek. That's one other thing you can say about the armor, it's sleek. Yeah, the sculpting on this is really nice. Articulation wise, now this is where I'm a bit put off. So you can turn the head around, it is really stiff, but kind of articulating it upwards is a bit of a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit of a struggle, it's a bit stiff. The arms, again, they're kind of stiff as well. Not a fan of that, I'm not gonna lie. There's a ratchet joint there, but it just feels like it's gonna break. There is a double hinge joint here. That is okay, it's not too bad. Again, this guy is really stiff. So that is something I'm not a fan of. Now, I could resolve it by soaking him in warm water, but just, especially with the paintwork and how shiny it is, I don't want to be kind of doing that too often. There is actually fairly good rotation in the chest. There's no stiffness there. And he can pivot back. So if you're going to put him into a flight position, he can be pivoted back like that. That's not too bad. And there's good crunch there as well. Leg wise, he can almost do the Van Dams. Let's see, there is a bit of rotation there, but it is super fucking tight. Again, I'm worried I'm going to snap it. Let's see the double hinge joint here. Again, stiffness I'm not too fond of. Now I'm just wondering, is it because the figure's so chunky and the parts are so chunky, that's why it's stiff? But still, it doesn't bode well. There is a good ratchet here in the ankle, so that's not too bad. There's no stiffness there, but it just seems to be the arms and the legs where the stiffness is. Now maybe they made the joints that bit tighter because he's not super light, but he's not super heavy either, but maybe they made the joints that bit tighter to make sure the figure stands. But yeah, again, the sculpting on him is gorgeous, like the head sculpt alone. I know it's not super complicated or intricate, but it's just nice. And as I said before, the design of the armor looks gorgeous. It looks like a sports car. And again, that just goes back to Tony Stark being a giant man-child and loving kind of hot rod cars. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Accessory wise, he comes with 2 interchangeable hands. He has 2 of these variations already on, but one is a fist for punching and one is open palm for putting the repulsors in. Speaking of, you get 4 of these repulsors, so they go into the hand like so, and I'm guessing you get 4 as well because 2 can go in to the feet, so you can make it look like he's in flight mode, so he can be like flying along like that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah guys, I really like this figure. I think the paintwork is superb. I think the sculpting is fucking awesome. Where he falls flat though is the stiffness in the joints, and usually I'm not too bothered by this. As you guys know, I'm not afraid to use the hot water method to kind of loosen up the joints, but because he's got this very shiny veneer to him to make him look like a hot rod, I don't want that luster to be lost because I keep on having to submerge him in warm water. So that's one major drawback. I'm not impressed by that. I think for such a nice looking figure, they should have really kind of focused on making the joints a bit more buttery smooth than what we got. But by and large guys, I still think it's nice. I just think it's a pain in the hole having to sort out the joints. But yeah guys, I'm going to pause the video here, and when I get back we're going to compare him to some other Marvel Legends figures. Don't go anywhere, I shall be right back. And we are back, and there is Iron Man in my alleyway, and let's compare him to some other figures. So on this side we have the Marvel Zombies Iron Man, and yeah, the sculpt is essentially the same. The paint and design is different. Obviously it's closer to the animated series, but Hasbro, obviously as a cost-cutting measure, recycle a lot of the parts and a lot of the joints, and you can churn out as many Iron Man figures as you like. So there is going to be repetition there, but the paint scheme of this really distinguishes him from the other Iron Man figures, and yeah, that kicks arse. In comparison to some other MCU figures I own, he looks really good next to my favorite MCU figure, which is Wanda, aka the Scarlet Witch. Yeah, the WandaVision Scarlet Witch looks really nice next to him. And you also have the Black Widow from the first Avengers, and yeah, she looks really good next to him as well. All in all, really nice figure. It just falls flat in its arse when it comes to the joints. Again, I don't want to be using the hot water method too much because there's a real nice sleek shine off him, and I'm just worried if I dip him in warm water too much, that sheen is going to go. So hopefully I'll figure out some kind of middle ground way to sort out the joints. But yeah, it's a gorgeous looking figure and a worthy addition to my collection. Again, Jen spoiled me fucking rotten. And while Iron Man isn't my favorite character, he does look cool. Speaking of Iron Man, what do you guys think of Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom? If you ask me, I think it's a really cheap move on Disney and Marvel's part. I think it's a Hail Mary play. The last couple of movies haven't been doing well and are hoping to draw in the old school fans, but it just stinks of desperation. But yeah, maybe that's just me. Let me know in the comments below. And also, have you read Avengers vs. Aliens? If you have, let me know that in the comments below as well, because apparently it's really good and I've kind of been on the fence about checking it out. But yeah guys, my name's Martin, this has been the Trash Picture Show, and yeah, have a good one, take care, bye now.